Hey guys, this is Dr. Celaya. I hope you're doing well, and today's the third video on coronavirus, and today is the 17th of March 2020. Up to date, we have in the United States 102 deaths so far due to this virus. And that's pretty much double what we saw 4 days ago. So it seems as though it's doubling every 4 days. Now, mind you, be careful when you figure out the mortality rate because we aren't testing people yet. So we don't have the numbers of those who have had the disease, number one. Number two, those that have had it and gotten well. So don't freak yourself out with the numbers. If you want to look more at numbers, you're going to look at South Korea. And let's see here. What do they have? They have 8,320 cases and 81 deaths. And that's not even 1% of a fatality rate. So we'll see how this goes. But today, what we're going to do is talk about the different things that you can do to really make sure that your system's strong, protocol-wise, supplement-wise. And if you happen to get a virus, in addition to those things I mentioned, what you can do. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you get plenty of good clean water, filtered. You want to make sure that you don't have any type of issues in there like chlorines, chloramines, fluorides, different types of things that are going to stress your immune system out. You want to make sure your immune system is really ready to take on anything. And you know, your body has to remain hydrated and your cells have to remain hydrated. You have to be able to get rid of some of the toxins and the other forms of metabolites that your body's going to produce when you do start fighting. So it actually can help boost your immune system. Number two, get plenty of sunlight if you can. I know a lot of us are in places where we can, and some people are where you cannot get sunlight. But if you can, get sunlight, even if you're taking vitamin D. The sun can actually help dry stuff out, which makes a big difference. In addition to, it really is healthy for your system, in addition to what it does for producing vitamin D. So get it if you can. Don't go nuts. You know, we're talking 20, 30 minutes in the earlier morning time. Don't go out when it's really crazy hot if you live in one of those locations. And if you do probably live in one of those locations, you probably don't have a lot of coronavirus floating around there anyway. The other thing that you can do is reduce your sugar or carbohydrate intake. It really makes a big difference because sugar in the blood that is not in the cells is inflammatory, and the same goes for insulin. And insulin is like the bridge to bring sugar into the cell. When you have an increased inflammation, it decreases the immune system in response. And just remember, carbohydrates turn to sugar, and so do proteins in excess. So be really careful and don't overeat. There's been research that shows that if you fast, intermittent fast, and even long-term fast, within reason, it can boost your immune system towards these virus and or bacteria infections that are coming. Sleep is another important thing, and it's not only how many hours you get, but when you get them. You know, we've come to a point where we've spent so much time being able to have a lot of things to do, and we've extended our daytime by having TVs and cell phones and computers. And the problem is it tends to make it so we're not going to sleep on a time, right? So people may be going to bed 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. I see it all the time with my consults. Try to be in bed by 9 o'clock and try to go to sleep as soon as you can. It will make a big difference to your adrenal glands, which control inflammation and therefore your health. So not just the hours, but when you go to sleep as well. And if you do look at computers and TVs and cell phones, make sure that you have a blue light blocker on them. So a lot of cell phones nowadays have night mode. You can enable that. If you're in a computer, there's a program called F.lux, which will slowly start to change the blue light out of your screens. TVs, I'm not quite sure how to deal with that, other than there are some great glasses that you can get from a company called TrueDark. In fact, I did a review prior about the TrueDark glasses, and they really are fantastic. Another great thing that I mentioned in the past, you know, along with food, and food's a big deal, but I eat tons and tons of garlic during the season. I'll put as much as I possibly can get in raw form in my food. In fact, It's so much that the next day you almost can't even stand yourself because of how you feel or smell. It's a good amount. Now, you don't want to do this forever, but at least during the time of concern. So we're going to look at some different research articles of some of the basic things that you may want to consider when you are having a fear or want to prevent virus. So let's take a look. All right, the first article we want to take a look at is the importance of vitamin D. And it's by Dr. Vasquez, who's a great integrative and functional medicine researcher, Gilbert Manso, and John Cannell. And let's take a look here. There's a lot of information in here, so you can go look this up if you want to read it. And let's go down to the conclusion. The use per day of adults is safe and reasonable to meet physiological requirements to promote optimal health and to reduce the risk of several serious diseases. You know, when we start looking at vitamin D, if you want to go through this article, you can read it, but there's several benefits. The first one is it enhances vitamin A, and we're going to talk a little about vitamin A and what it means for you and virus. It improves your barrier defenses. So you have barrier defenses everywhere anything enters into your body, meaning your respiratory system or your digestive system. That's where 80% of your immune system is located to make sure it prevents further bugs and problems of entering your body. It helps improve your gut microbiome. You know, your gut microbiome are the bacteria that you have in your gut that are helping produce important things for your intestinal cells to eat, but also for helping your immune system. The proper health of the microbiome is important because the good guys can prevent the bad guys from creating issues. It helps improve your immunity. It increases your T cells, and it improves defenses against infection and also autoimmunity. It helps reduce inflammation systemically throughout your body and also helps reduce neuroinflammation. It also improves your mitochondrial function, and your mitochondria are those little power plants in all your different cells that give you energy. It also helps, believe it or not, improve muscle strength and also testosterone. You know, with all those things being said, you can see how it can help depression. It may reduce seizures. It can reduce hypertension. It can reduce hyperglycemia or high blood sugar, which can create inflammation. That being said, it can promote weight loss, decrease musculoskeletal issues. It can decrease autoimmunity, especially type 1 diabetes, which is shown to have a 78% reduction, and also MS and RA. And it reduces the incidence and occurrence of certain cancers. So you can see vitamin D is a big deal. Let's take a look at another article here. Let's go to the conclusion. And you'll see here in the conclusion that vitamin D supplementation was safe and it protected against acute respiratory tract infection overall. The people who benefit more are the ones that were deficient. All right, let's go to vitamin A. Vitamin A, you know, so one thing you have to understand is that we're looking at a lot of these research articles, and you're not going to find research articles at this point of the game of anything and coronavirus because really it hasn't been around long enough and we haven't had the subjects to study it. I do know that I've heard in China they are studying a lot of different things in conjunction with coronaviruses, one of them being vitamin C, but we haven't seen any of that information yet. So we're going to look at other type of virus, even though they may be completely different type of virus, it's still in the same kind of category, obviously, viruses. So vitamin A supplementation was associated with reduced mortality in patients with Ebola. I don't know if you remember that virus. It wasn't too long ago, a pretty nasty one. But here it says early vitamin A supplementation was associated with reduced mortality in patients with Ebola virus, and should be further studied and considered for use in further epidemics. Interesting. All right. Coming to another study on vitamin A, foci of vitamin A deficient tissue may be the sites of penetration of bacteria and other agents, leading to secondary infections and contributing to the increased severity of infections and poor outcome in vitamin A deficient animals and humans. So what happens with these viruses, let's say the coronavirus, is you may get a viral weakening of your respiratory system. But what usually gets you is the bacterial pneumonia. And so this can help with that, minimizing your further degeneration to getting a viral problem to begin with, and then therefore additional bacterial infection of your respiratory system. Let's look at another research article here, and boy, it looks like the whole thing's highlighted. It says studies in animal models and cell lines show that vitamin A and related retinoids played a major role in immunity, including expression of mucins and keratins, lymphopoiesis, apoptosis, keratin expression of neutrophils, natural killer cells, monocytes, macrophages, T cells, and B lymphocytes. Basically, the vitamin A helped boost the immune system. All right, now let's take a look at N-Acetyl Cysteine. And N-Acetyl Cysteine is a precursor to glutathione. And we're going to talk about glutathione in the future here as well, but it's a great antioxidant and it's part of your detoxification system. Here it says acute hepatitis and infections caused by dengue virus. Again, another virus, not necessarily the same as what we're looking at here with coronavirus. But it came out with a conclusion that transfusion with packed cell volume and N-Acetyl Cysteine has promising results. So it's something that we need more research to study, but N-Acetyl Cysteine is a precursor for glutathione. Here again, another research article on N-Acetyl Cysteine inhibits virus replication. Here it says the antioxidant NAC has been shown to inhibit replication of seasonal human influenza A virus, something very, very similar to what we're dealing with the coronavirus. All right, now we're going to look at selenium. And you can go right ahead and read all these big, long articles, knock yourself out. There's a lot of great information there and probably a lot of stuff that's going to confuse you. But here, let's go and take a look here. Dietary supplementation with selenium-containing multi-micronutrients might also be helpful to improve supportive care and to strengthen the immune system of patients suffering from newly emerging viral diseases. I would venture to say that coronavirus is a newly emerging viral disease. And here is another research article on selenium and selenium deficiency and viral infection. Similar alterations in virulence and genomic composition could be observed in mice fed normal diets, but generally deprived of the antioxidant selenoenzyme glutathione peroxidase. A mild strain of influenza virus also exhibits increased virulence when given to selenium-deficient mice. Basically, if you're deficient in selenium, these viruses have more of a chance to become more viral. Let's take a look at zinc and the efficacy of zinc against common cold viruses. So here, the clinical trial data supports the value of zinc in reducing the duration and severity of symptoms of common cold when administered within 24 hours of the onset of the cold. And so zinc has its place. Another article. In fact, let's go to the top here to show you the article. Zinc for the treatment of common cold. Moderate quality of evidence to suggest that orally administered zinc reduces the duration and symptoms of the common cold, which is a virus. Now, vitamin C. Boy, the one that everybody loves. And vitamin C is great. And I'm not going to get real crazy with tons of articles, and there's just a lot of different research on vitamin C, but let's take a look here. Vitamin C at high doses is effective at preventing viral infection, enhancing recovery. Several mechanisms are known, including specific antiviral replication processes and enhancement of many components of the body's cellular immune system. When taken at appropriate doses and in a timely manner, ascorbate is one of our best tools for curing acute viral illnesses. All right, here's another article on monolaurin. And this is a pretty darn good article, but let's take a look. It says monolaurate. It's a natural occurring fatty acid widely used in foods, cosmetic, homeopathic supplements, etc. it's known for being in coconut, by the way, is a potential antimicrobial agent that targets a range of bacteria, fungi, and enveloped viruses. But select findings suggest that GML also has immunomodulatory function. All right, let's take a look at another one. It's Geranel geranio, and let's just call it GG for short, but it's a naturally occurring substance found in annatto, flax seeds, sunflower, olive oils, and a lot of different medicinal herbs. And it's an essential molecule for constructing cell membranes and help producing energy in the mitochondria, stimulating the production of hormones, and there's just a whole host of different things that it can do. By giving this to somebody, it can help increase those levels that start to decrease as you start to age. So a little bit in the discussion, it says the emergence of mutant strains of influenza A virus, now mind you, this is not corona, but very similar, frequently appears to result from antigen shifts due to RNA segment genetic reassortment or antigenic drift due to RNA mutation, which makes complete prevention impossible. So what they're basically saying is that these viruses can mutate, and as they mutate, it makes it really, really difficult for any type of vaccine or anything really to work, other than to stimulate your immune system. So they call it GGA, we're calling it GG, treatment abolished viral protein synthesis. And these viral proteins are a major component of influenza virus propagation in infected cells. So it does show that it is somewhat important to working with antiviral protocols, but there needs to be more research associated with this. And who knows if you're ever going to see it, because I don't know if they're going to be able to sell medications. There's always natural supplementation at this point that we can get for GG. Another simple one is vitamin B complex. And if you have a vitamin B complex supplement, you can just take a couple of pills of that a day. It's really good for improving your resistance. Another thing I like are the mushrooms. For example, Reishi mushroom is really great and a great antiviral. There's a lot of good supplements out there. This happens to be a liquid form. And I've taken it myself, and it does make a big difference. So let's say you have some lung symptoms. There's a lot to do, and some of these supplements you might want to increase. And I'm going to be a little cautious here in giving you the protocol amounts, just for the mere fact that some of these are fat soluble, and if you overtake them, you can create toxicity. If it's something you want to know more, we can always talk more on a one-to-one level. In fact, you can go over to my website, drcelaya.com, and you can get a free consultation, and we can talk a little bit more about that. So if you do have any respiratory type of symptoms, you can get a nebulizer form of glutathione, which is a buffered form. Don't put regular glutathione in a nebulizer because you'll burn yourself. If you want to know more about that one, you can head to my website, drcelaya.com, and it's listed in the store. But you can nebulize a little bit of the glutathione on a regular basis. It'll help build up your immunity. You can even add a little colloidal silver to it. Just be careful with the colloidal silver. There's a lot of controversy when it comes to colloidal silver, but it's a great antibacterial. Another thing that you can do when you're really concerned about lung issues is really start to enhance your breathing techniques. There's a lot of fantastic breathing techniques out there, but if you have sunny days, and like I said, some people may not, or even if you don't, really start practicing breathing, and exercise can help you do that. If you're not able to exercise, or you just want to start breathing more during the day, deep breathing can make a big difference, because the virus that we're dealing with, the coronavirus, attacks the lung tissue. And so it's real important to make sure that we have a lot of flexibility and elasticity in the lungs, and deep breathing techniques can help you do that. The thing you have to understand about how this virus attacks your lungs is it weakens your immune system, and then usually a bacteria comes in and takes over, and that's when you end up with a pneumonia. There's a lot of wonderful herbs out there, from oregano oil to olive leaf to berberine, which is one of my favorite, and the list goes on. And there's a lot of different brands out there. I like this one, a Verised from Orthomolecular, or also there's another really good one, Immunotone Plus from Designs for Health. And there's many, many more that are really fantastic. You can isolate the different herbs if you want, or you can get one of the complexes. And it's like, for example, here, let's see this one, Astragalus, which helps boost the immune system. European elder, Echinacea, which is great. L-lysine, that's a great antiviral. And you know, there's a lot more ingredients in these, but you also have to be careful. If you have autoimmunity, some of these herbs can really spark your autoimmunity. And so it's not something that you just want to start taking, because if you don't need these things and you start taking them, they can create some inflammatory responses. So you do need to be careful. You know, I'll do more videos here in the future on this. We're going to keep an eye real close. And the reason I'm making these videos is because I'm getting a lot of phone calls and emails asking me about it. And my suggestion is just to really make sure that your system's doing well, to make sure we have you on the minimum amount of things to really boost your immune system, but not go too crazy. Be careful of the herbal formulas. Don't overdo them, because they are medicinal. And it's just one of those things that we can't overreact, because you may cause more harm than good. If you have any questions, you can go over to my website, drcelaya.com. I hope this helps.